A few weeks back, I had spoke a little bit on some of the things you see popping up. I know there are some articles in kind of the craft beer world about people talking about brewer burnout. And you're running a large staff. How many people do you have employed there at Rhinegeist?
We're about 300, depending on seasonal staff.
That's
and time
awesome,
of year.
brother. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So, and these articles are talking about, brewer burnout. You see people talking, some people online. I mean, there's specific pages on Facebook talking about pay me minimum wage to run your entire brewery. That's the name of one page. There's different things like that, people voicing concerns. I believe it's Creature Comforts, that they have some brewers down there that are trying to unionize. There's some interesting things. And then even just getting into the overall concept, the overarching concept of health within our industry. What do you see some of those big issues are, and what are some of your takes on that?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have an industry where people are passionate about what they do and they really truly care about what they do, you're going to see people taking advantage of it. And it goes both ways. I'm guilty of it, as I'm sure you are. There are weeks you'll spend 70, 80 hours a week in the brewery because you want everything to get done. You want the beer to be perfect. You want to meet all the sales goals and, make sure everything's working well. And you run yourself into burnout because you care so much about it and you want it to be successful, because there's a personal connection. You're not just manufacturing a widget for a giant global company that, whatever. It's a very personal thing, and you get to interact with the customer and say, yeah, I made this beer. Mm-hmm. And that's awesome. You're enjoying it. It's a very cool feeling. So we as brewers tend to undervalue ourselves because we put value to that cool factor and how fun it is to be in this industry. And then on the flip side, you've got brewery owners and people that take advantage of it and say, well, I've got a line of people out the door that will work for nothing. So if you're not happy, leave. I'll have your job filled tomorrow. Fortunately, that's no longer as prevalent as it used to be back in the day. Part of the reason I started bouncing around the country is because I was a degree brewer. I had formal training and the student loans to show for it. And I couldn't get a job that was over minimum wage, and I was like, I can't do this. So I started to have moving around the country to find better opportunities. And now I think that's happening everywhere. And brewers are standing up and saying, no, I deserve more. I'm giving you more than a 9 to 5. And you should pay me that way. But like anything, it takes time. And the whole industry has to come up, and there's a lot of people, and Rhinegeist included, we say, oh, we're better than the industry average. We're better than most. Okay, the bar is really, really low. So you're gonna brag about tripping over a really low bar? Okay, good, cool, but there's more that needs to be done. And we're going through it right now. Obviously, Cincy Light wasn't planned. It was already a busy summer, and we dropped that on top of the busiest months of the year. And yeah, I've got some brewers that are burned out, and the team's feeling it. And you have to go in, you have to address it. And yeah, some of it is, all right, we need to get creative and start thinking about ways that we can pay people more. And we need to advocate for our staff with ownership to say, I'm sorry, but we need to take a hit to the margin so that we can pay the people that are here, that are trained, that are good at their jobs, to keep them. It takes 4 to 6 months to train a brewer. It's not like we can go out and hire somebody next week and then they're functional and on their own, in 3 days. it's a very complex process, and there's a lot that goes into maintaining a high level of quality. So you have to invest in that. And then, we all work for money. It's a job for everybody, but it's not everything. So in addition to that, you've got to make people feel valued and heard, and you need to make sure they feel like they're part of the process, and they're not just a cog,
sure,
in the machine.
Sure.
So that's a lot of good communication and leadership, and trying to touch base with your team, and something I've recently been very focused on, and I'll be honest, had gotten away from me a little bit with the busy summer. So it's never ending. You always have to be. It's leadership. It's just engaging with your team and making sure they feel like individuals and valued. And to that point, we're putting guardrails on sales and production right now. We're not just opening the faucet on Cincy Light and saying, all right, let's dump as much into the pipeline as we can. We're tactfully pulling back and locking down production schedules and saying, no, we can't audible another batch in this week or next week,
Sure.
Knowing, we might be missing out on some sales. And we might not be fully realizing the opportunity that we have right now. But that's to the benefit of the team, and giving them a break, and recognizing they're overworked, and it's 100 degrees inside the brewery. Take a break.
Yeah.
Let's slow down and think about why we're doing this.
Yeah, definitely, man. That's no, I think you're spot on. And